Hey everybody, this is Anna from Clear Center of Health. To all my future nurses, I was asked to do a little tutorial on the ozone machines that we have here. So currently, as of April 2022, we have 2 ozone machines. The first one is the one that we have right here. It's from Longevity Resources. And I just want to give you a quick little tutorial about how this machine works. So, if you notice, the first thing is that the ozone machine is designed to be used with the oxygen tank. So you have your oxygen tank with its tubing, and it's going to be connected from the oxygen tank to this, oxygen port. When you're using the ozone machine, you're going to want to make sure that this oxygen is on, and everyone's probably familiar, but if you ever see it, the oxygen tank on its red refill, that means it's empty, so we need to change it out. And so we need to know what setting on the oxygen machine, on the oxygen tank, we need to know what setting to set it to. And that's the first piece of information that we need. And the second piece of information is this dial. We need to know what setting we want to set it to. And when we know those 2 pieces of information, we will know what is the concentration of the oxygen that's going to be coming out of this machine. And it needs to be, at Dr. McDougall's practice, it needs to be a concentration of as close to 33 gamma as possible. The way that these are set up, they have a flow chart here, as you can see, and the oxygen tank setting in liters per minute is on this side, on this column, and then the ozone generator setting is along the top. This corresponds to what you see on this knob, okay? So what we've already highlighted in this practice, what we're going to be using, what is appropriate for our ozone with, our ozone treatment. And so each machine, by the way, is calibrated, especially for its use. So this has been calibrated. I believe the last time was in 2019, I believe. And so we have 1/4 of a liter of oxygen, and a generator setting of 7 will yield 32.3 gamma of ozone. And as you can see, that is the closest thing on this chart to 33. So that's what we always want to set it to. It will always be that way. So again, 1/4 of a liter per minute and a setting of 7. So just make sure that you're on 7, which we are. And then you want to make sure that your oxygen is turned on. Okay, it's going to go on to 1/4 of a liter. And when you have that, you're ready to work. You're going to turn it on with the main switch right here. And then the other thing that we have to do to make sure that we're ready for the ozone is to hit the start button. When you do that, you notice this light comes on, ozone destructor. This means that no ozone is coming out of this machine right now. It's being generated, but it's also being destroyed at the same time, because you can imagine what would happen if ozone was just leaking out into the atmosphere. So that would not be good. So it comes with a built-in destructor. Until we're ready to use it, this is a safe mode to be in, okay guys? So the syringe port is what we're gonna use to get the ozone out. And I have what we usually use here at Clear, and this is a 60 cc syringe. You're gonna wanna do this with gloves. And trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time, sorry. So, let's see, I'm gonna make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. It's a lure lock. So you're just gonna make it nice and tight, okay? And nothing's gonna happen right away, but this is the mode you guys need to be in order to make it work. So when you're ready to go, you're gonna use this toggle, port and control. They're both gonna give you ozone. It's like, the ignition button. But if you do port, it's going to, you notice it's filling. it's just filling constantly, right? Unless you turn it to neutral. So the toggle, when it's in neutral position, right in the middle, nothing's gonna happen. Now, if you want more control on measuring the milliliters of ozone, if you don't like just letting it just go on its own, you can use instead of the port control, you can toggle down to control, and it's just gonna start and stop and start and stop. And so you can have a lot of, I'll move over here. You can have a lot more precise control. Where's my, on getting exactly, 31, 32. So you can see what I mean, guys. Now, the other important thing to remember is when you unscrew this, and this is why you have gloves on, when you unscrew this, if you don't use your finger to cap the end of your syringe immediately, you're gonna smell that ozone right away because it's just gas in here, and you're gonna let it all out. So you just wanna make sure your finger is right there at the ready and put your finger over the top immediately. Do it with a gloved hand to keep everything clean, okay? And then you're just gonna move this 30 mils to your IV bag that has your patient's blood in it. And then you just take your finger off for just a second, long enough to screw this onto the bag, and then you inject it into the bag, okay? And the other nurses can help you with the rest of it, but I would just want to show you how to use the machine. Now that you've taken the syringe off, again, don't worry, no ozone is coming out of here because the ozone built-in destructor is not allowing anything to come out, okay? So you're safe in this mode, but when you're done with it, go ahead and turn it off, okay? So you don't need to do anything else but hit that main switch, okay? And you're all done. You're all done, and you just want to turn off your oxygen so you're not wasting, and just scroll that right back to off, okay? Just to explain to you about this little section here. You see it's kind of like sorry guys. It's kind of like a counter. If you look real carefully, it says 500. It's hard to see. There we go. 500, and then the H at the end stands for hours. You can set this to whatever you want. Basically, the machine is counting down in increments of time, and when it reaches 0, it will no longer give you any ozone. It's almost like a built-in emergency stop. So all you have to do, guys, is just keep the number high. Keep it at a high number. And when it actually goes down, when the time starts, is whenever you're actively pulling ozone out. So you can imagine that it would take probably forever for this number of 500 hours to go down. But just in case, if you ever notice it getting low, you just hit these little plus signs and add time. You can add 700 hours, 800 hours. You can change it from hours to, I believe, it's so hard to see, guys, but you can change the settings, but you just really don't need to. Just keep it on hours. Okay. All right. That is longevity. I'm going to do one more tutorial for the other ozone machine that we have. We have a second machine right now, and then one for the UVB machine.